Commander Trell stood at the edge of the excavation site, his four eyes blinking in sequence as he processed what his team had discovered. The blue-green planet designated E3 had been cataloged as pristine, untouched by sentient life, a perfect candidate for colonization. For 6 cycles, his survey team had established preliminary settlements across the temperate regions, preparing detailed reports on the planet's abundant resources and diverse ecosystem. Yet what lay before him now changed everything. How deep was this found? Trell asked, his translator converting his harmonic speech into the expedition's common language. Research Officer Mira consulted her data tablet, approximately 12 meters beneath the surface, Commander. Initial dating suggests it's been buried for over 500 planetary rotations. Trell's secondary breathing sacs inflated with a soft whistle, his species equivalent of a contemplative sigh. The object was unmistakably artificial, a structure of refined metals and synthetic compounds that had no business existing on a world supposedly devoid of technological civilization. Expand the dig, he ordered. I want a 50-meter radius explored by next sunrise. 3 days later, Trell stood in the colony's central dome, surrounded by holographic projections of the artifacts his team had unearthed. What had begun as a single anomalous discovery had transformed into something far more significant and troubling. The evidence is conclusive, Commander, explained Dr. Vex, the expedition's chief archaeologist. His slender fingers manipulated the display, enlarging images of the recovered items. These are not isolated artifacts. They represent the remnants of an extensive planetary civilization. The assembled items told a story that contradicted everything the Galactic Survey had previously documented about E3. Fragments of buildings constructed from materials requiring advanced metallurgy, devices containing complex circuitry and power systems. Most disturbing of all, preserved remains of bipedal beings unlike any species currently cataloged in the known galaxy. They called themselves humans, Dr. Vex continued, displaying a reconstructed language sample. Our linguistic algorithms have begun deciphering their communication methods from recovered data storage devices. How advanced were they? Asked Trell, his voice steady despite his mounting unease. Dr. Vex projected a new series of images, vehicles designed for atmospheric flight, orbital structures, and what appeared to be primitive interplanetary vessels. They achieved spaceflight, he confirmed, limited interplanetary travel within their solar system, energy manipulation technologies, global communication networks. By our comparative scale, they reached approximately Tier 3 development before their civilization collapsed. A murmur rippled through the assembled officers. And yet they're gone. Trell mused. Completely gone. What happened to them? The answer emerged over the following weeks as excavations expanded across multiple continents. Beneath layers of soil and reground forests, they found the scattered remains of vast cities reclaimed by nature. In these ruins, Trell's team pieced together the story of humanity's rise and apparent self-destruction. They were remarkably adaptable, reported Officer Krell during the daily briefing. Our analysis shows they evolved rapidly, transitioning from simple tool users to global civilization in a mere few thousand years. Too rapidly, muttered Science Director Pell. Their technological development outpaced their cultural safeguards. The evidence suggests widespread environmental degradation followed by resource conflicts. Krell studied the latest findings with growing fascination. Show me their achievements again. The display shifted to reveal images of human creativity, intricate art recovered from preserved vaults, musical instruments, literature translated from digital archives, mathematical formulas of surprising elegance, and engineering feats that had survived centuries of abandonment. They weren't just survivors, Trell observed. They were builders, thinkers, creators. And warriors? Added Security Chief Dorn grimly, gesturing toward the recovered weapon systems and military installations. Some of these technologies rival our own defensive capabilities, despite being centuries old. The discovery that truly altered their understanding came 3 months into the excavation. Beneath what had once been a facility in a region the humans had called Nevada, the team uncovered a sealed vault containing perfectly preserved records and a message. Trell watched in silence as the translated recording played on the central display. A human figure, dressed in formal attire, spoke directly to the camera. To whoever finds this record, we were here, we lived, we dreamed, we reached for the stars. Our civilization may not have survived our mistakes, but perhaps our knowledge will serve those who come after. Consider this our legacy to the future. The message continued, detailing humanity's greatest scientific discoveries, philosophical insights, and warnings about the technologies that had contributed to their downfall. They knew, whispered Mira. They knew they were ending, and they left this for whoever might follow. Trell felt something shift in his understanding. They weren't just another failed evolutionary branch. They were conscious of their own mortality as a species. The final report to the Galactic Council recommended abandoning the colonization plan for E3, not because the planet was uninhabitable. It had recovered remarkably well from humanity's impact, but because Trell had classified the entire world as a protected historical site. The species designated as humans represents a unique case study, Trell explained to the Council's holographic representatives. They achieved remarkable technological and cultural sophistication in isolation, without guidance from established galactic civilizations. Their rise and fall offers invaluable insights into developmental patterns we've never before documented. You speak of them with unusual respect, Commander, observed the Council cherubim, for a species that evidently destroyed itself. Trell gestured to his assistant, who activated a final holographic display. It showed a reconstructed timeline of human history, their struggles, their triumphs, their capacity for both tremendous creation and destruction. What commands respect, Trell replied, is not just what they built, but what they understood. In their final days, facing extinction, they chose to preserve knowledge rather than weapons. They left warnings rather than traps. They thought not of vengeance, but of legacy. He paused, allowing his four eyes to meet the gaze of each council member in turn. In their brief existence, they came to know themselves. How many of our own ancient species can claim the same level of self-awareness? We have much to learn from what humanity left behind. The council chambers fell silent as the implications settled. Earth would not become just another colonial outpost. Instead, it would stand as a monument to a species that had briefly touched the stars, and ensured that even in death, their story would not be forgotten.